Welcome to the Spectrum Lounge podcast, where we discuss creatives of color disrupting the game in TV, film, and pop culture. I am your host, Rebecca Theodore-Vachon, and on this episode, we chat with actress Kimrie Lewis, who plays Poppy Banks on the ABC family comedy Single Parents. Welcome, Kimrie.
Hey, you better use your microphone voice. Yes, girl. Come on now.
You are too much. I see why Jake Choi loves you.
You got it. Yes, right. I love you some Jake Choi. Sometimes you just got to let them know. You know, I got this microphone voice and you going to hear it.
Thank you. I've been working on it. Welcome to the show. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
to have
I'm so
you
happy
on.
to be here. I'm excited to be in the Spectrum Lounge. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I love Single Parents. I must tell you, it's my favorite show. I was explaining to someone today. I got them watching it, and that's my spiel. I was like, the thing with Single Parents, it is like it's wholesome family fun. It's wholesome but edgy, which is what I like. It's a great blend. Yeah. So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate compliment. Thank you so much. I feel like, when folks say that or they'll say, I can watch this with my kids, that just warms my heart. Like that's I want to be able to do that for families,
Well, you're doing an excellent job.
Hey.
So can you tell our listeners just basically what Single Parents is about and about your character, Poppy Banks?
Yes. So I play Poppy Banks, and on Single Parents, it's a show about a group of parents who come together who wouldn't ordinarily be friends, but because their kids are all in the same class and they're best friends, we sort of create this village, and we become best friends. So, we lean on each other for everything from dates, dating again, to, pick up and school snacks and drop off and all that good stuff.
Oh, great.
And I play Poppy Banks. So Poppy is an entrepreneur. She owns what we call on the show a winebrary. Mm-hmm. And that's a mix of a wine shop and a bookstore. So it's like my haven. I love to hang out there. I would love to hang out there in real life too, because wine, why not, right? And so, Poppy is a single mom who puts her son first, obviously. She's very progressive and loves to show off her feminist skills and surround herself by like-minded folks. And she's just down to do whatever for her friends.
Right. The thing I love about Poppy is we've had all these depictions of Black moms on television, and usually when you talk to people who are the Black moms to come to mind is Claire Huxtable, right? She was just married and, a lawyer and everything. And the thing I love about Poppy is that, and particularly with television of today, is that we are allowed to have the spectrum of Black motherhood. And I just love what your character brings to the table. Yes, she's a divorced mom, but she's the successful, like you said, she's the successful business owner. She's this devoted mom. But what I love about Poppy too is that she has a fun side, and so I love seeing her get into shenanigans with her friend.
She definitely has that.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that's one of the things that drew me to her was that, so often you see Black moms on TV and, aside from the Claire Huxtables, there's few and far between where you don't see Black women as single moms who aren't often struggling to make it. They're usually missing a sock, their hair is all crazy. Mm-hmm. They're just not put together. And I love that the story that we're telling is that even after divorce, even being a single parent, Poppy puts her best foot forward, which is what so many of my single mom friends look like and act like. We're going to do what we have to do for our kid, and we're going to look as good as we can doing it.
That is true. I do love particularly the relationship that Poppy has with her son, Rory. And yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know the show doesn't overtly say it, but it is coded that Rory might be a queer child, right? Or that he might be queer. And just not, and so I love the fact that you have this depiction of this Black mom who just loves her son and isn't trying to police who he is. Like she just lets him be a free spirit. So what's it like working with the actor Devin Trey Campbell? He's wonderful as Worry. What kind of working relationship do you guys have?
Yeah, well, I love this kid to death.
Mm-hmm.
Devin he comes from Broadway, and so he's always we're all trying to keep up with him because ain't none of us been on Broadway,
Right.
um, and so he just brings such a professionalism. Number one, for a kid that age, it's a rare find. But he also brings just the spirit of love to his work and to set.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have just a blast, and I'm so thankful. I'm the luckiest TV mom in the world.
Yeah, those kids are amazing. I'm trying to remember the name of the actors who play the kids, but the kids are hilarious because they're like you're
Hmm.
watching the parents, but with the kids too. Someone had said this on Twitter today. They were like, one of the reasons that they love single parents is that they give the children on the show such autonomy and give them a voice. And I was like, oh, that's why this show works. Because usually, the kids are like usually like a distraction or they're like an inconvenience, but they really do give the children a voice in this show, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to real life as well, right? Like it don't matter what you got going on. The kids are gonna say what they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come first, and so I love that we make them a priority on the show.
Right. So I know when I was watching the first season of Single Parents, I noticed that there was some chemistry. I was like, I don't know if I'm reading this right, but I felt like there was some chemistry between Poppy and Doug, who's played by the great Brett Garrett. And I was just like, are they going to try to put them together? I was just kind of watching to see if they would. And so I was actually happy to see them put Doug and Poppy together in the second season. Like, they on paper they shouldn't make sense, but somehow I guess
Mhm.
because of the actors that are like I believe the relationship because there's such opposites. What's it
Yes.
like working with Brad Garrett and just kind of like bringing that relationship to life on screen?
Yeah, they got jungle fever. They got no, I'm joking. Brad, working with Brad is a dream. He's so very funny. I leave set with cramps all the time because he just has us all in stitches. But aside from being funny, he also has this genuineness that I think comes across in the characters that he plays, and especially this one, which is so far from who he truly is. It's it really makes me a better actor, being there with him in these scenes. And you're right, like these characters are so very different. Um, Poppy is very progressive and liberal, and Douglas is conservative, and she likes being social and hanging out with the group, and he can be more of an introvert. And like Poppy lets her son be who he is, and his kids are his daughters are more militant and like soldiers, and
Yeah.
which is great. And so I love that they're so polar opposites, and yet what brings them together, in addition to their kids and being parents, is the love that they have for the other person. Which, dang, wouldn't it be great to have more of that in today's day and age? I feel like nowadays you hear somebody else's a Republican, or you hear that they're a Democrat, and you automatically just shut down. You ain't listening to what they got to say. And I
Mm.
love that we can explore that love can come about even through these differences.
Right. Yeah, because one of the things that I loved about their relationship was that in a way, Poppy was starting to have an effect on Doug. I mean, yes, he's still conservative, but you could definitely see that there was more of a positive change going on. And it had nothing to do with her giving up any of who she was. Like she could
Mhm.
still be, her carefree and her liberal self, and it was just more like he was kind of more drawn into her, like, oh, okay, she has a point on some things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And isn't that what makes great relationships?
right.
You having effect on the other person and vice versa, and you becoming better as one.
Hmm. Yeah. And then also with Poppy's friendship with Angie D'Amato, which I love. And especially when you talk about like depictions of like interracial friendships, that you have this black woman and this white woman who are just bonded by the love of their children. I mean, like, and it's a very equal relationship, which I really like.
Yeah.
What's it like working with Leighton Meester?
It's great. I love that on this show we see that because everybody will say like I got a black friend, I got a white friend,
Right.
but in this particular relationship, like these women are best friends. They stand for sisterhood. They're going to be there for each other through it all. No matter how silly it may get sometimes, no matter how many glasses of wine they may have to down along the way,
Right.
they're there for each other in such a loving way, and I so appreciate that because in my own life, that's how I am with my girls.
Hmm. So how did you get the role of Poppy?
I girl, I had to get on the pole. No, I'm joking. I they would have not given me the role if I got on the pole. They would have been like, thank you. Next. Um, yeah, that takes a lot of balance and upper body strength. I just ain't got it like that.
Yes, it does.
I had to I auditioned for this. I got the call on a Friday that I had this audition on Monday. And they the casting director, kind of called me up and told me what they were looking for, and in this single mom, and that she was recently divorced. And at the time, the character was very into like crystals and meditation, and that was her driving force. And so I checked off at least two of those boxes because I was recently divorced and I was, on an annual silent meditation retreat. And so I just felt already that, me and her had a lot of parallels and that I had a lot to offer. So I went in. I didn't know that Brad Garrett was going to be in the room, and he was there, and Taron Killam was there, who plays Will. And yeah, it did just seem to be a good fit from the very beginning. And a few days later, I got the call that they wanted me to come back and, do a tape to send to the network, and did my actory stuff, prepared, prayed, meditated, sleep
Right.
the edges down, and, and found out that I got the role.
That's
So
great.
it was fun. Yeah, it felt good.
Awesome. Yeah. So I know we have a mutual friend in Jake Choi.
Yes.
Jake plays Miggy Park on Single Parents, and of course your character Poppy and Miggy are also friends. What's it like working with Jake? He's so great. But
A
I'll let you tell
blast.
us.
He's no, he's just the best. I mean, it doesn't get any better because he's so real, and I can just count on him. Like I can count on him for so much, for laughs and for the keep it real moments, and he does just that. He's from Queens. He don't play around. So he looks out for his sister, and I appreciate it. And I love him. I love his family. He gives me dating advice. It's a nice and I return the favor. It's a nice mix. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, he has great relationship advice. Great relationship advice. So, yeah,
He
I can say that.
does. He
Yeah.
does. Yeah. Yeah. I highly recommend if folks are out there. He should start a dating advice podcast. That's what he should do.
That's a great idea. You know what?
You
We
know?
should hit him up and let him know. I
We
think he'd be
ha-
very good
that
at
why
it.
hasn't I do too. Why hasn't he done that yet? He'd be great
Hmm.
at that.
I think so. I think so.
Hmm.
So where are you from? You grew up in LA, right?
I
Is that
did.
where?
I'm born and
Okay.
raised in South Central. Normandy Adams. So I grew up there and went to New York for college and came back home.
Oh my. So when did you
Yeah,
know
I
you
can't do those
wanted
cold winters.
Oh yeah, it's a mess in New York. So when did you know you wanted to be in entertainment? Like when did you know you wanted to be an actress?
When I was younger, I think my mom knew it before I did because she was just like, I'm going to have to put you in all the extracurricular activities. You need to get out this house.
Oh no.
So I was in a performing arts troupe called the Theater Rascals, and it was a group of black and brown kids from LA, and we would put on these shows, these performances at different locations, at different parades. We would be at the Crenshaw Mall just performing while people are, getting their Cinnabon. People would stop and look at us
Oh
like,
my
what they
gosh.
doing? We would like perform these African dances at the Martin Luther King Day parade, and so I know that that's where it started for me. But as a kid, I was really shy. I was so afraid to be out there and be the center of attention, in front of people. At least when I got home, it was a whole different story.
Right.
Um, and so I think as I got older, I started stand up, and that helped some. And just learning to not be out there performing for other people, not caring less about what other folks think,
Mhm.
and doing it more for me is what helped me break out of my shell.
Right. Right. Do you remember what your first TV role was? Like your first paid role was?
Mm. Well, I did. Yes, I do. And before that came, I did a lot of extra work. And I highly recommend if folks want to enter the business to be a background actor. You learn so much. You're just there being paid to soak up, you know, the business.
Right.
You see so much of, and you can learn so much being on set. Um, but my very first role where I had a line was it was the show called Half and Half.
I
It
remember
was
Half
on
and Half.
UPN.
I
Yeah,
love that show.
yeah.
Yes, girl. That was my
Yes,
show.
Essence.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So it was I got a guest star on that show, and I played like this real tomboyish tennis player.
Mhm.
And Essence's character was calling me in, and she wanted to represent me. And then I was she wanted to do a makeover on this tomboyish, tennis player, and I just wasn't having it. And so I didn't wind up signing with her, but it was so much fun. And I loved that it was, back then, we had the multicam audience, the live audience, and it was just the best. I had so much fun.
That's amazing. And so I know you also worked on Scandal. Did
Yes.
what was that like being on set with Kerry Washington? Did you get to work with her? Did you have any scenes with her or get to talk to her like off camera?
Absolutely. And so that was my second time that I got to work with Carrie. The first time we did a movie together called Peoples. It was a comedy
Yes.
with her and Craig Robinson and David Allen Greer and Essie Pathan Murkison. It was
Mhm.
just so much fun. And so when Scandal came, I played reporter Ashley on that show for, I think it was 4 seasons or 5 seasons. And so we just got to reunite, and it was a love fest as usual. You know, that's a Shonda Rhimes show. And what I love is just how much they put women first. And you just really felt like you had a voice there, you're
Mhm.
taken care of, hair and makeup wise, because that's important too. If you feel good, you look good.
Yes.
And yeah, just advancing the narratives of powerful women was really the what I took away from that show, and so I'm so grateful for it.
Right. Well, speaking of hair and makeup, which is interesting because there's been I think it was like a few weeks ago, Tisha Campbell was on The Real, the daytime show, and she was sharing a story about I think she said this was when she was first starting out in Hollywood. She was maybe like 18 years old and she was working on a show and she was walking out of the makeup and hair trailer and she overheard one of the white stylist say, I think it was the hairdresser, hairstylist, who said, well, I don't really like working with black hair because it reminds me of pubic hair. And she said that
Mm.
she was just so traumatized from that.
Wow.
She said the whole rest of the show, she just insisted on wearing a wig because she was like,
Mm.
I didn't want that kind of energy in my hair. So
Wow.
in your experience, I mean, being in the business for years, have you ever had, like, you don't need to call people out, but just, have you ever had any experiences like that? Let's say
No, I'm
either,
calling them out, Rebecca. You
okay.
know who you are. You want? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I would do that.
But have you ever had that experience where, like, you might get on set and they didn't know how to do black hair, or they didn't have the right makeup shade for you, like, where you just kind of felt like, okay, I'm gonna have to do my own hair and makeup? Like, have there been any situations like that?
Countless times.
Wow.
So many times. And, on shows that are still on the air,
Mm-hmm.
and you just think, okay, we're in the 2000s now,
Right.
this is a thing of the past. This happened in the 90s. No, um, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like Black stylists, they have to learn how to do everybody's hair.
Yes, they
You
do.
know, they have to learn how to do everybody's makeup. So why should it be that the non-white, the non-black stylists, the non-black makeup artists, don't have to do the same? It should not be that I go into, I book a job and have to bring my own makeup and my own hair tools because they don't have anything for me in the trailer. That should never happen. And it happens all the time,
Mm.
all the time. It's so discouraging. Or they'll have like one shade of black makeup, and it's like, well, that ain't my shade, so that
One
ain't gonna help.
shade. Oh my god.
Like
Yeah.
if you ain't mocha, then you're screwed.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So I think people talk a lot about having more people of color in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like not just behind the camera on executive levels is where we need to improve, but in the trailers.
Right.
These are the people who, they're supposed to be looking out for us. They're supposed to know, what products go on black hair. They're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to know what, if you have sensitive skin, which so many of us do, what makeup or foundations to stay away from.
Right.
And it's just, I think it's a true tragedy that that is not the case still today.
Yeah, that's got to be, well, because I have a sister of mine, my youngest sister. She's a hairdresser, and I specifically remember her coming home. Like, she had her textbook, and she showed me in the textbook, like, the area, like, where they were talking about black hair care. It couldn't have been any more than, like, maybe two paragraphs, maybe one. And it was just really just saying, and it really wasn't even talking about taking care of natural kinky hair. It was just like, black hair is just coarse and kinky, and this is how you put a perm in it, and it should be permed, and you should just hot comb it. Like, it didn't have anything else as far as, like, cutting, conditioning. It was almost like it's just something to be handled. Like, you need to
Mm-hmm.
manage it. And I was like,
Manage
wow.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is so sad because there's such a plethora of um, different varieties of our hairs, different textures of our hair, and you can't cover that in a few pages.
Right.
Um, that it's really heartbreaking, and the way it's set up. Just to delve even further into it, is that
Mhm.
there are these hair and makeup unions, and so if you're not a member, if you're not a union member, then you can't even work on most of these shows. And it's like, we don't have access to that stuff. We don't know about that stuff,
Mhm.
when we're just going to, barber school or to get our license, our cosmetology license. And so having access, having that knowledge is what needs to occur because I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
That's got to be so demoralizing. Like, especially if you see, like, white female co-stars are getting like the 5-star treatment, and then you're just like in the
Yeah.
corner just, well, it was funny because with this quarantine, my sister, my same sister, the hairdresser, she made this
Hey,
observation.
sister.
Hey, Sarah. So she made this observation. She was like, have you noticed that like the black actresses that have been like since quarantine, like the black actresses that have been doing like IG lives or doing interview or still doing like video, like Snapchat or TikTok. She was like, you'll notice that their makeup still looks good. And she was like, she had a theory that it's because of the fact that black actresses have had to learn how to do their own hair and makeup. They're prepared. They're pretty much prepared for the quarantine. They were like, well, I don't need my
Yeah.
glam squad. It has that been the experience with you, like you know how to do your own hair and makeup?
I can get
Yeah.
away
Hmm.
with, if I'm in the right light, at my right angle,
Right.
don't get too close. Don't zoom in on my edges. Um, but I can get away with it. I love my team. I'm proud, when I have these press events, I have an all black team who comes in, who knows my hair, who knows my skin, and I don't have to worry about it, thankfully.
Hmm.
But we on quarantine time. So I'm just kind of, finding the right light. Every now and then you'll see my pictures without my edges. I start at the forehead down,
Right.
because I'm not the best at it. And that's why there are professionals. I posted today, actually, a photo of me, like how long it took me just to get a decent look.
Oh
This ain't
wow.
even like full on glam. I'm
Yeah.
catching cramps. My arms is up. They shaking, trying to get these edges, trying to get the back. The back is always the worst. But what I realize is a trick, girl.
Hmm.
In quarantine times, you ain't got to do the back of your hair. Just
You're
do the front.
right. You're
That's all they
right.
gonna see. You're
That is so
welcome.
true.
You're
That is
welcome.
true. Well, the funny thing is like the good well, not that the quarantine is a good thing. One positive things is like my skin has cleared up because I haven't been like I can go weeks without wearing makeup. It's like I can go like 2 weeks, and then
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is cool." But then when I do wear makeup, I have noticed that my makeup skills have actually gotten better. If that makes any sense. I don't even know what that's about. But yeah.
Yeah. We gotta do what we gotta do, girl. Cause we ain't got the squad right now.
It's
And
serious.
thankfully,
Hmm.
I got this weave right before the lockdown happened. So I'm still holding on.
Oh, thank
I'm
God.
trying to be real gentle with her. We'll see. I don't know. The governor said phase 3 is going to be coming out in a couple weeks, and I'm going to barely make it if that's the case.
Right, right.
So pray for my weave, y'all.
Oh my gosh. So how have you been handling the quarantine? Like, how have you been like keeping yourself busy, keeping yourself like, emotionally and mentally balanced? Like, how has that been for
Yeah,
you?
that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. I think I'm holding up pretty well. I think I'm doing a lot better than some people because I can stay at home. I can stay at home and not miss being outside for a few days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's something that happens when you go out in the sunshine and you seeing other people and other cars and you look up at the sky that I think is rejuvenating for your mind, your soul, your body, your spirit. And so I try to force myself to get out of the house, even when, I may not have to, even if it's just going for a drive and,
Mm-hmm.
we're rolling the windows down. That's a good idea, actually, when you're trying to dry your weave, roll the windows down in your car and just drive for a good hour and it'll dry, it'll get those
Wow.
parts that, yeah,
I did
yeah.
not know. You see, you have
Because
like these really good life hacks. I love it.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, we don't have access to a dryer right now.
We
You
don't.
can't sit under the dryer. So you trying to dry your weave because you don't want it to, get moldy and nothing like that. Nobody wants a stinky weave. Roll
Woo.
your windows down in your car and just drive, girl. Put some Jill Scott on put some Beyonce on, put some Megan Thee Stallion on,
Oh, I
and your
love
weave will
that.
be dry.
Oh, that's
So
great.
yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing those things. But I'm a big believer in meditation
Mm-hmm.
and affirmations. So even if I'm not leaving the house on a day I'm not leaving the house, or even on a day where I'm wearing my pajamas, like today, I will I will say my meditation. I'll do my meditation, and I will say my affirmations.
That is great. You know what? I actually need to start doing some meditation. I think that's a good, because I've noticed like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'll do is check my social media. So I'm trying to break out of that where it's like just kind
Oh
of give
yeah.
my, just kind of just clear my mind. And I think meditating is probably the best thing to do
Ooh,
first thing in the morning.
yeah, I
Yeah.
highly recommend starting your day off that way. And so there's
Mm-hmm.
Insight Timer, which I think is the most popular meditation app, and they have some really great new meditation leaders, particularly women of color,
Ooh.
that they put on there, which I'm happy about. But then there's also Liberate, which
Mm-hmm.
is a meditation app founded by and for people of color. So
I love that.
yes,
I
yes,
love that.
yes.
See, I
And
told you, you just coming with the life hacks. I love
what
it.
else you need, girl? What else you need?
I love
I
that.
stop at taxes. I don't know nothing about taxes, but anything else I can help you out for, I help you
Okay,
out
so
on.
how about fitness? So I mean, you've got a lot of celebrities now. They're can't go to the gym. Like, how do you keep yourself fit, or you're just like, I'll just wait
Hmm.
till the quarantine's over?
No, I did that for like the first 3 weeks, and then that wasn't cute anymore. So my jeans were like, nah, girl, no. Um, so I like to mix it up because I get bored quickly.
Right.
I like to run, so I'll run outside. I wear my mask when I'm like on a block when I see people, but when people come into
Mm-hmm.
my area, then
Mm-hmm.
I'll mask up. Um, I really love virtual reality boxing.
Ooh.
So yeah, girl, there I have my Oculus Quest,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this game called Knockout League on there, and it is so much fun. They have this old school black boxing coach, and he will kick yo behind, girl. I mean, you are full on sweating, you're sore the next day. You can either choose to fight like other opponents, or you can just be they'll like take you through a bunch of skill sets, and you're like punching and dodging and blocking. And girl, when I tell you you are sweating, it's a full on
What?
workout.
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try that. Because I love kickboxing. So this sounds like it's up my
Yes,
alley. I
girl. It's
love it.
so much fun.
Great. That's great.
Yeah. So I'll
Yeah.
do that. I'll run. I'll do knockout league. I'll play knockout league, and then I'll do online Zumba every now and then.
Ooh, I haven't tried Zumba. I need to try that.
Oh yeah, girl.
I
It's
think I do.
fun.
I think
It's
I'm
a
gonna
lot of
try that.
fun.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much. Oh, so what can we expect for tomorrow night? I know tomorrow night is the season finale of Single Parents.
Yes.
And so
Wednesday the 13th.
yes. So I know we
9:30
have
a.m.
so we have some questions. I mean, because I know this season, well, I just watched last week's episode, and we know that
Mm.
Poppy and Doug decided to kind of, give the relationship a break. So I mean, are they gonna get back together or not? Or are we gonna is that gonna be addressed
I
tomorrow?
think in this episode
Mm-hmm.
you'll they have a shot at it, and we see what happens.
Ooh.
Um yeah, and I think it's a really great it's a typical single parents episode
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's helping everybody. It gets wacky, it gets crazy. And we're all just like in our element of, all right, well, I'm not good at this, you're good at that. Let's put our things together and, make some magic. So we're keeping our focus on the kids, but also trying to, live, trying to live our lives.
That's great. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you guys will get the season 3 renewal because we need it.
Thank
We need
you.
shows like Single Parents in the world. For real.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we
I love
do.
it. I love it. It's so positive. I love it. And not
Thank
corny.
you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
No, no, we keep it real.
Well, I will definitely have to have you back on the show. This was
I'd
so much
love to come
fun.
back.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.
Absolutely. So you've listened to a new episode of the Spectrum Lounge. See you on the other
Spectrum
side.
Lounge,
Thank
other
you.
side.